So yeah, we are recording now. So yeah, so we don't have any additional training plan. Like Jason said, we're focused 100% on the live event. We do have a quite a few questions. I have it open in a text document, maybe I don't know, 20, 30 questions, something like that. So we can obviously take those. If anybody has any questions, like always, we can take them from the live Q&A box. So feel free to type those in now and throughout while we're going through some stuff. So yeah, we'll get a lot to those questions. That'll be a big focus of today's call. The final of the main ASM calls, like Jason said, we'll likely be doing more in the future. We're just not putting anything definite out there right now. One thing for the people who got here early, which is awesome, we have lots of people here as always, is that during the live event, we have some very structured presentations to give you all some additional value. We have some awesome speakers coming in. We actually have more speakers than we initially planned. These aren't people that are going to be pitching anything. I mean, that's not what this is about. But we have along the way over the past 30 days or so been pinpointing some awesome people that are going to give some advice and information and strategies on things related specifically to physical products, but all hitting it from different angles, different traffic strategies, different ways to get an existing product to convert better, all this kind of stuff. And the cool thing is I was talking to Jason about this before, I don't know, 3 hours ago or something like that. Is that the cool thing about the ASM live event? Everybody is going to have access one way or another, whether it's through actually attending live streaming, or the recordings, but either way, everyone will have access. So the cool thing about this is that it's really unlike anything else because we're applying all the cutting edge marketing stuff specifically to physical products, not even just to Amazon, but specifically to physical products. That sort of thing does not exist out there. There's bland, generic, boring, ineffective e-commerce conferences out there. Believe me, I went to some of them back in the day. There's some of those out there. Then you've got the cool internet marketing sort of conferences, but those are typically any kind of product. You have a local business, you have an ebook you want to sell, you have a membership site, all this kind of stuff. So the content can sometimes end up being a little bit generic. Some of it's applicable, some of it's not. But with you all having followed this course, and everyone's in different stages of this business, but you're really going to be on a really cool place with this because the entire content is all focused on applying all that kind of stuff to selling physical products. So just want to tell you all that it's going to be absolutely awesome. So like I said, we have some structured presentations, we have some guests coming in, but then we're also doing a few other things. So one thing I want to get some feedback from you all on is we're going to have a mastermind panel. We're going to have some awesome guys up on the stage with us that you all have heard of. Very popular people in the internet marketing space, very experienced people that have both done a lot of business themselves and taught a lot of business themselves. And because of that, I mean, you all will get lots of information on selling more physical products, all that sort of good stuff. But these are going to be some very successful entrepreneurs that are really there to just give you whatever information you want to know. One of the things that I think will be really cool for these people is that they're all super successful entrepreneurs. That's the only way they're getting on this mastermind panel. So what I'm thinking that we want to kind of tailor the questions to is that what do you want to know from a panel of probably 5 or 6 super successful entrepreneurs about getting started and getting started fast. Are there any specific questions you want us to ask them? Because these are kind of going to be prepared questions. Then we may take a few from the audience, but we want to have a good set of prepared ones so that we can really give some good hard hitting content while they're up there. So that's something I wanted to ask you all. What questions would you all want to ask a panel of extremely successful entrepreneurs that would help you in your own business and in growing your own business? These people are going to have different experiences. Not all of them are Amazon, selling superstars. Some of them may be extremely good at video related stuff, SEO related stuff, paid traffic stuff, any of that kind of stuff. But what kind of questions would you all want to know? Because this will give us some good ideas, and some of them we'll actually take out, and they will be the questions that are asked during the live event. So let's see, start some questions covering in here. So yeah, if you just want to start, yeah, so something that's kind of interesting that I necessarily wouldn't have thought of, but a lot of people want to hear the stories of success, whether it's from those people, so that's good. Thank you for that, Richard. I will write that down. Conversion, so people want to know stuff related to conversion, growth. Oh, that's a good one. Time, how long did it take before you started making real money? All right, 5 best tips. Awesome. Worst and best decisions. Worst and best decisions. Tell some good jokes. That's Jason's department. He's got some canned jokes for you all. What's got people over their humps? So overcoming obstacles. Cool. Business structure correctly. Um, top 10 mistakes. Paid traffic. Sweet. Okay, cool. So yeah, y'all can keep putting those in there, and we'll keep a note of those. I'll keep going through these as we keep going. So yeah, I mean, other than that, I was gonna get into the questions unless you have anything else you want to cover before we start jumping into the questions, Jason.
One thing I wanted to cover is I guess one thing that it's more of a motivational for you guys than anything, but like I just got a screenshot sent to me from Chris about how well he's doing. I don't know if you've seen that in the question and answer way up there from Chris Luck, like doing really, really well. The reality is, though, that some of you, are a little bit slower. You're backed up on training, meaning you're still in week 3 or 4, module 3 or 4. And I say this every week, but I always want to remind you, whether you just weren't listening at that time or you weren't on the call or whatever, that that this isn't a closed training system. Meaning now that module 8's done, we're walking away and deserting you. And when Matt and I say we're taking some time off, I got one guy here that was, came across a little panic there. What's that mean? You guys are drifting away? It's like, no, well, we're just taking a couple weeks off. So that means no new training and no live calls for a couple weeks. Um, we are in this for the long run with you. We're still going to be answering PMs. We're still involved with you, and there's going to be new things coming down the pipe later on. Obviously, we can't keep this full time doing so much training and this every week like we are right now. I mean, we do have our other businesses to run, and you signed up for an 8-week module. But this is a continuing process, meaning you've got a membership, you've got access to us, you've got access to the community. And for those of you that are a little bit behind, you have time to catch up. There's nothing going away, and it's just standard. And some of you, I've seen some posts is like, oh, my product's been up for a few days, no sales. If you remember my statistics way back when we launched, and I shared all that, for the first 2 weeks, I think I sold about 3 products altogether. That's going to happen as well too. Some of you are going to just take off like gangbusters, and others are not. People are saying, "Oh, I'm not ranking in the search engines yet. It's been 1 week." You need patience. Like not everything is going to suddenly happen automatically. For me, I always say give it 3 or 4 weeks before you start really worrying about, search engine results. And the reality is your product, you will sell some one day, then all of a sudden the next day you're going to have no sales. Then, you might get 1 or 2 the next day, and then you might have a jump. There's no consistency at first because you're just getting things started. But the idea here is don't get hung up on those things. Don't look at them as all of a sudden, oh, this is a challenge. This isn't working. It obviously works. We have great success stories already. But the reality is it's not going to be the same for everyone. So I just want to encourage you, like if you're struggling along, if you're still, in behind, yes, Matt and I are still going to be here for PMs. The community's not going anywhere. The training's not going anywhere. The support system is still going to be here for you. The tools are. Everything's going to keep going. The whole thing, though, is this is the last, promised coaching call for you. So Module 8 coaching call, this is it. But we have, we're going to be doing lots more coming down the pipe. Don't worry about that. But we're not promising any specifics right now because we need to focus on this live event. And there's huge amounts of training that's going to be provided with this live event. A lot of people asking live event questions. I did send out an email about that today. If you didn't receive an email about the live event, meaning that you're a registered live event attendee and you didn't receive an email about it, please check your spam folder, and if not, contact support and let us know that you didn't get the email, and we'll send you the email. I guess I just wanted to hit on those things. That's really all I had. And then I guess now we can get into the training, but those were the things on the top of my mind that I wanted to
Cool. Sounds
cover.
good. So jumping into these questions here that we have that people submitted before the call, and then we'll get to the ones that are on the live call. So first one is somebody is asking about subdomains. For example, with stuff related to Shopify that we got into. Because like whenever you set up a Shopify store, you actually get a subdomain at Shopify.com, for example. If your business is like XYZ widgets, then it'd be xyzwidgets.shopify.com. What you can do is I recommend whatever your primary domain is, whether it's your brand name or some sort of website you've set up for your products, have the subdomain. Mine is typically store dot whatever my main website is. So it'd be, store.xyzwidgets.com, and that just redirects over to your Shopify store. It's real easy to do. If you have any trouble with it, just contact Shopify support, but their instructions are built for people who are new to all this sort of, typical e-commerce stuff. So that's typically all I do. You don't really want to use just the main Shopify domain that makes you look kind of amateurish, but you can just redirect your main subdomain over to that Shopify subdomain, and then everything shows up there. That's how it's built. Super easy to do.
And one other important point to add to that, you might come across in 6 months a better option than Shopify. And if all of your marketing has been promoted towards the Shopify domain, then you're stuck. But if you have your own custom domain that's redirecting to it, well, then it doesn't matter what shopping cart you're using in the back end. So that gives you a little bit more freedom and flexibility.
Yep. Who's the company that's setting up the LLC? So I guess Jason, this is probably a question for you. It says who's the company that's setting up the LLC? I guess it's for the service that we plugged in there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to hang on a sec. I can't remember that off the top of my head. I gotta open up Skype and get that. So
Sure,
go to the next question and
sure,
then I'll
sure.
get that.
What are the best sources potentially from you to optimize listings? I don't really
When I
understand.
read that question, like it sounds like they're asking for best sources for like promoting and doing those kind of things. I'm assuming you're talking about tools, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's not
I don't
really a
know.
clear question. I meant to actually remove that one. I'm sorry because it didn't make sense.
Okay, no problem. So the next question is, what's the best way to reach Australian markets for my products? Cool thing is that obviously this whole the say 80-90% of this program, Amazing Selling Machine, has been about selling on Amazon because it's an awesome way to introduce new products. It's extremely lucrative, all that sort of good stuff. And now you know exactly how to do it, which is awesome. So the question is, what's the best way to reach Australian markets for my products? Pay attention at the live event. We're going to teach you how to reach whatever market you want, internationally, domestically, outside of Amazon, you name it, for your physical products. So if you're attending, you're obviously going to get the information right there. Make sure you attend every single session and pay attention. Otherwise, catch us on the live stream or the video recordings. We will get into all of that cool stuff. Um, there was so much in Module 8. Will you guys be creating any more training videos? Love your training and thank you. Great job. Yeah, we likely will be coming out with more training, more content, all that kind of good stuff. Not going to promise anything else right now. Like Jason said, 100% focused on the live event, but that's good to know that want more training related to Module 8 stuff. This is a good question. So it seems like there's been a lot of ASM members clicking on fellow ASM members' products on Amazon, though it seems helpful. Would this affect them? No, as long as you aren't forming like review groups or any of that kind of stuff, that can definitely be a problem. But if you're just clicking on the products to check them out, Amazon gets, billions of clicks a year. I have no idea what their actual volume is, but they definitely get millions and millions of visitors a month. So yeah, not really a huge issue unless you're doing something a little shady. So same kind of question, how to integrate Shopify with a WordPress already create a WordPress site already created. All you do is set up a subdomain, super easy inside of any sort of hosting platform that you have. Just create a subdomain for that WordPress, for that domain, which is going to be your WordPress site. Create a subdomain, point that over to your Shopify store, and that's pretty much it. And just, click whatever buttons are necessary inside of Shopify. It's all in there, pretty easy to do. Uh,
The company who's setting up the LLC, the answer I can give you right now is if you go to incorp.com. So that's who we're using, just to let whoever asked that know.
guess you want to put in the chat box?
Yeah, I can do that. And one thing, a couple questions came about this, like how long will this service be available? Well, I mean, obviously, like don't go through incorp.com. I just put it in the chat box. go through our, like, there's no affiliate commission or anything like that. The only reason why you want to use it directly on our site is because they removed all service fees. But uh, if you want to use it, go ahead. If you don't need an LLC, if you're based in the US or you already have a LLC or a corp or whatever, you don't need to bother with this. The whole intent of this is if you are a foreign, um, if you live foreign, like say for example in Canada or in some other country like Australia, and you want to get a business set up in the US in a bank account so that you're not having to use Payoneer or anything, this is a great alternative. This is a great way to do it. And things are getting set up relatively quick. The one thing to note though is you cannot use Earth class mail addresses with this service anymore because Earth class mail it has not enough diversity in their mailing addresses. But there's a great service that you can use. It's a little expensive. It's about $70 a month. I use it though, and they do mail forwarding, and they have an actual address and a bunch of other features that you can use. And I'll share this with you guys anyway. I mean, I'm not getting any money from this either, but I'll just hang on one sec. And this is for any of you that want to, have a U.S. address. I found that this was a really good service to use regardless. Sorry, it took me longer to do than I expected. So this in the chat box, that's the mail forwarding service that I use. You can select addresses from all over the United States, and it's really, really cool, and it works good for setting up your corporation. Okay, keep going, Matt.
All right, so next question for you, Jason. Jason introduced a diagram mind map. I guess the question is, how many of those connections will the URL booster do for us? Our traffic robot, basically all the tools that we have access, like how many of those will be covered by those versus stuff they have to do manually, I think is the question.
The URL booster works automatically with the promotion tool and with the press release tool to automatically do some of that. Like with the press release tool, I think it grabs 50 of them randomly and will promote those ones. I still recommend, it doesn't hurt to double dip on those and do them again. Don't do them multiple times, but if you have time, you can do it. Now, one thing, just to let everyone know, this has been asked for. Fingers crossed that the press release upgrade will be done tomorrow, but the next step in the upgrade is actually going to be able to get you guys a list of URLs where your press releases are published to, because I know a lot of you have asked about that, which will be really powerful to be able to use with the URL booster too. But that's my answer there.
Okay, so the next question. I'm surprised internet businesses are only valued at 1 to 3 multiple, which seems very low. Can anything reliably be done to increase it? Yeah, absolutely. With being a privately held company, the multiple is definitely going to be lower. But obviously, publicly held companies, the multiple is higher because the actual, what people are buying, whether it's partial ownership, full ownership, or whatever, is much more liquid. It's easy for those people to get rid of, to trade in and out of, all that sort of stuff. With a private company, it's not quite as easy. And because the thing is like, with the call that was in module 8 with Eric from App Business Brokers, who I sold one of my companies through, they, his approach is, they obviously get deals done, all that sort of stuff. But the way you get a higher multiple is if you find a strategic buyer, meaning that if somebody's just making a basic financial decision and, is this company worth this amount of money? What the market is kind of playing with right now is a 1 to 3 multiple, typically closer to 1 to 2. The reason for that is that, with an internet business, or just about any business, there's a lot of uncertainty and all that sort of stuff, especially with a privately held company that's not super big. So with that, but if you found, for example, if you're selling some sort of physical product, say for example, you're selling a business that's just cranking along, you have your own brand of, let's go with iPhone 5 cases. You're cranking along, your business is doing really well, you've got a strong brand, all that sort of good stuff. Now, somebody who's just an entrepreneur, they're like, I think a good business would be to sell iPhone 5 cases. I don't really want to build a business like that from the ground up. I have the cash. Let me go find somebody who's selling that kind of business. And then they're like, okay, they find your business. They end up buying it for, 1 to 3 times your trailing 12 months profit, basically. So that's nice. That deal kind of happens. But now, If it was a different buyer, for example, a company that's already pretty big, and maybe their expertise is in selling, let's go with, car chargers or wall chargers or any other kind of charger for cell phone accessories. They're the world's biggest brand in those. They may have some other brands, but the one component they don't have that they know they could instantly just take in and sell it to all their existing customers is cases, for example. Then they see your company and it's no longer just a basic sort of financial valuation like everybody else, because they wouldn't just take over your existing business. They take over your existing business and use their existing customer base to promote your products and make a lot more money. So that's when the multiple could be higher, 5 to 10 times, that kind of thing. Finding that kind of person is a whole different issue. I mean, that's something that you would work out, but something to be thinking about along the way. For example, Jason and I don't even know if Jason knows this story, but Jason and I knew a guy who really, I mean, he's an older guy now, but he really built his business, or was a serial entrepreneur, got started when he was like 12 or something crazy. But either way, like he built his business. At one point, he sold multiple businesses and basically had a formula for selling businesses to Microsoft because he knew exactly what they were looking for, to be able to sell them for a really high valuation. So I mean that's just a different approach. I mean what Eric was saying. I mean he's very spot on. He doesn't try to give anything overinflated. What he said is very accurate, but it's not necessarily true for everybody, and that's why it wouldn't be true. So
I mean,
sure, go ahead.
obviously the time frame uh, of how long, the history behind the length of time that you've been making money and all those kind of things play into it too. I mean, obviously, if you have an established business that for 5 years has been making consistent income, you can ask a lot more. But if it's been like a year, there's a lot more risk involved for that, and so the person's not going to want to pay multiples past, the norm kind of thing.
Yep. So
This next question I don't understand. It says, I want to issue my press release. I'm assuming Seller Central, and they told me you can't do a promotion with FBA products, only FBM. And that is 100% not true. And I don't know if the person was drunk you were talking to, but you can do promotions on any products. You create the promotion code and do the promotion. Now, I can't remember actually right now, Matt, but no, absolutely you can. You can create promotions for specific ASINs, and it doesn't matter if it's filled by Amazon, filled by a merchant. You can create those promotions and do promotions. I have no idea what that person's talking about. You can promote your product at any time.
yep, those promotions just apply to the ASIN regardless of how they're actually fulfilled. So the next question, I'm confused by this suggestion to open an e-commerce store when we were told to use Amazon slash FBA to avoid e-commerce store problems. Great question. So definitely you want your initial focus to be on Amazon. It's extremely lucrative, way easier than sort of, putting your little e-commerce store out there and trying to, uh, you know, work your way through all the mess and all the other people with e-commerce stores out there, because your expertise that you now have with selling on Amazon puts you in the top 5% of everybody selling on Amazon. You jumping and opening an e-commerce store, you're probably going to be in the bottom 5% if you've never done it before, just because it takes a lot of experience and there's not really the same kind of massive opportunity to really get things going fast and easy like there is with Amazon. But the reason it's recommended, first off, is because people are going to be looking for you online. Because you start selling so much on Amazon, they may just not want to buy from Amazon. For whatever reason, it's kind of weird, but some people are like that. So they'll go to your e-commerce store. You can also do other things with your e-commerce store, such as capture emails. You obviously get all the contact information, email everything of people that buy from you, and it's just another source of revenue that can be built, fairly easily alongside your Amazon business. And when you want to start approaching other places to sell your products, whether that's in physical stores, other places online, you kind of lose a little bit of credibility if the only place you sell them is on Amazon. Even if your other stuff pales in comparison in terms of revenue and profits, it's good to have that additional channel. But the main problems you run into whenever you're trying to run your own e-commerce store, assuming you're getting lots of revenue and that kind of thing from Amazon, so it's not the financial side, it's the fulfillment side. Because if you have a regular store, Shopify is a platform I recommend for a basic e-commerce store. Before, if you weren't using FBA, you'd have to ship products out yourself, use a third-party fulfillment company. Both of those are a pain in the butt. But now all you have to do is literally have somebody for $2, $3 an hour in the Philippines to take your orders from your e-commerce store, log into your Seller Central account, and just place those orders using your existing FBA inventory. So it can all be done, pretty much automated, and is very low hassle, and is just another way to sort of um, really legitimize your brand and create an additional revenue source for you. So the next question, how does Eric from the business broker service that's in Module 8, how does he charge for his service, flat rate or percentage of deal? Now, business brokers, a lot of times they'll charge a flat rate plus a percentage of a deal. Like I remember one time I was talking to a business broker in Dallas, not Eric and them, but in Dallas, somebody that I just found. I went to this little free seminar thing that was really good. They wanted to charge like $60,000 plus like 15% of the sale. And I was like, well, whatever. It's only experience I have with that. I was like, I don't know if that's good, bad. I mean, it sounds a little ridiculous. Eric's stuff is not like that. They basically won't take you on if they don't think they can sell your business. But when they do take you on, they're pretty darn confident they'll be able to get a deal done. So there was no flat fee. I think that's the same for everybody else. But yeah, there's no flat fee, and it was just 10% of the sale price. Some people may be like, "Oh, that's too much," but I think it was an awesome deal because they made it extremely easy. They handled all the legal, the paperwork. They did all that sort of in between work. They sort of managed all the negotiation and setting up and all this kind of stuff between myself and the different buyers who approached. Um, and they found the buyers to begin with, which is the main benefit. So yeah, it was just 10%. So I don't know if other business brokers are like that. Those are the only two that I've dealt with. So yeah, so they were just a percentage. So I sell products only individually, but as a set. So the question is, how do you sell products not only individual, but as a set? As, for example, a complete skincare system. Each product you sell on Amazon needs to have its own SKU. Now, there are products that, for example, if it, in the skincare example, maybe there's some sort of, night cream and then there's like a daily face wash kind of thing. Those have to be bundled together in a way that they're actually in the same package or wrapped together or something like that, because that unit is going to have its own individual SKU, because that's really the only way you can do it. Other than that, you can create coupons and that kind of stuff in your store that allow anytime anybody buys one of the products to get a discount on the other product, and you'll get some cross marketing benefit, and hopefully people buy those together. But other than that, it really has to be its own unit. So you can have, for example, the night cream is one product, the daily face wash is another product, then you have a third product that is both of them in a combined packaging. Amazon won't do that part for you. It has to be done before it gets to Amazon if you're using FBA, but that's kind of how that has to be done. So next question is related to hazmat, the hazardous materials sort of policy thing. It's kind of weird with Amazon, depending if you're selling any kind of product that goes in somebody's body or on top of somebody's body. You a lot of times will run into this hazmat thing Amazon comes up with. Even if your product is the most safe thing on the planet, they'll tell you there's some hazmat warning. They have to review the product. Pain in the butt. Sometimes it takes 5 days, potentially 7 days for them to figure out your product isn't a bomb, or I don't know what they're doing, but either way, it's not a big issue other than the pain of having to wait for it. Past that, I would just send them a message saying, hey, this product's completely legitimate. What's going on? They'll be like, oh, we're checking on it. It'll probably take 5-7 days later, and it'll be fine after that. Really nothing to worry about. We already covered this related to future coaching calls. This is a good question that hopefully more people actually run into. It says, from your experience slash research, what's a good target to shoot for in daily sales volume to have Amazon become the seller? This is when it says ships from and sold by Amazon.com. So if you all remember, we said that happens when you're an Amazon seller. For most people, this is how it happens. When you're an Amazon seller, you're cranking along, selling a lot of volume, and Amazon's like, hey, if we started buying from this vendor wholesale, this brand of products, then we could probably, do some additional marketing, have some more control, make some more money. So then they basically become a wholesale buyer from you. So it's just kind of interesting because I actually have this for one of my brands, and it's not like they want to buy at a massive discount. It's the weirdest thing on the planet, actually. I was like, when I was new to this, I was asking them, I was saying, okay, so what are you all looking for as far as like a wholesale price? What kind of discount? They were like, you tell us. They're like, our goal is really only to make like, do high volume and only make like a couple bucks a unit, which is insane. Like any other person who wants to buy from you wholesale, any little mom and pop retailer who would want to buy from you wholesale would probably want at least 50% off. for them to be able to make any money after marketing expense and shipping and all this kind of stuff. Amazon's like, yeah, we don't care. We just want to make a couple bucks because they really just want the control because they're still getting the same 15%, all that sort of good stuff. So yeah, so it's kind of interesting. But as far as sales volume until that actually happens, in my experience, it's not like I have 10 brands with that thing. I have one brand who has that that Amazon's actually buying wholesale. So as far as sales volume, and I mean, I would have to say probably just based off of experience, maybe, 1,000. I mean, it depends on the category because the way that's done, I was gonna say, 1,000 units a day or something like that is maybe where it kicks in, but it has to be for probably over like a 3 month period or something like that. But the thing is that it's heavily dependent on the category because Amazon only picks the top selling products in those categories that they want to buy wholesale from you. So if you're in, for example, a category like, any sort of like electronics accessories category that's super high volume because people are buying little dollar things. You look at a top listing over there, they're probably selling, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 a day or something like that. You being in a different category selling 1,000 a day and you're just cranking along, you're a top seller in that for a lot of major keywords. You're in that other category, you're a relatively small player. So they have individual buyers per category, so it's really relative as to how well you're doing per category. So in a general sense, I'd say you probably want to be a category leader, multiple products under your brand, doing very well in a category for probably 3 months or so, and that seems to be about when it kicks in. So, kind of covered that. Uh, do the personal barcodes you assign to us match our product or just registered to our names? The way those were done is that we just bought a big bulk listing of those barcodes. We don't really know the numbers. We don't care to know the numbers, and we had our programmer throw them in a database, and they're just randomly assigned to people. Now, once you've unlocked yours, it is, I guess, assigned to your Amazon, your ASM Central login, so that nobody else can get the same barcode. But past that, I mean, we don't do anything with it. So now, if you use that for your Amazon product listing, then that's the new UPC code. That is the UPC code for your Amazon product. So I guess hopefully that answers your question. Got a lot more questions that we've already answered. This is a question we've kind of covered it before, but if we're asking it again, probably other people have the question as well. Uh, do we treat link, this is for you, Jason, do we treat link building for our Amazon product page very gingerly, just like a regular site page, or can we get more aggressive?
I personally say you can be a little bit more aggressive than a standard website. Um, you definitely want to just add diversity into there and not just focus on lower quality links. Make sure you're doing high quality ones as well, but you can be a little bit more aggressive with it. And the simple reason is back what Matt talked about earlier, like the amount of pages and links and everything already on Amazon. It's a totally different animal, and it has tons of authority and respect with Google, and you can be a little bit more aggressive with it. That being said, still be careful.
Cool. So the next question, do we have to register our brand name with the local government business office since we're selling products under that company name? Not that I know of, because if
I
it's just
just personally use LegalZoom, just to let you know, like,
for
so it
even
doesn't
for
have
your
to be anywhere local.
okay. So I mean, there's I guess a couple of distinctions here. First off, is that if you just have a brand name that your company owns, and you're obviously you made sure there's no trademarks or anything like that on that. I'm not a lawyer, so hopefully this is correct. But just going off personal experience and the experience of others, is that if you're just having a brand name out there that you've created out of thin air, it doesn't have to be a business. It's nothing you have to register as long as you're not using anybody else's trademarks. It's just a brand name you use that your business owns. May not have a lot of protection if you don't file a trademark yourself, but either way, it's a brand name you use. Hopefully, you bought the .com domain and all that sort of good stuff. Now, if you actually want to be able to use that brand name as a legal entity, such as setting up a bank account under there and all that sort of good stuff, that's when you would need to file it and create either do a DBA, a doing business as, or create its own company with whatever business office you want to use. I mean, it could be your local government, like Jason said, could be basically anywhere. But yeah, if you want that to be a legal entity, then that's a whole different issue. But just to be able to use that brand name, assuming it's not trademarked, you don't need any of that stuff. Um, already covered that one. All right.
I,
So go ahead.
there's some, I got to go back to the barcode thing. I don't think people understand these barcodes that we got you have nothing to do with your ASIN, your product. I seen this one question here, and it seems like we're getting confused. A barcode is just simply a random number that no one else gets. And when you get that number and you add it to your product listing, it then becomes tied to your product listing. So the barcode you get from us is not already predetermined on anything. So I'm confused why people think that. But sorry, I saw that in the corner of my eye. We were just talking about barcodes, so I wanted to add that. Sorry. One thing I wanted to say too about the brand name thing. Um, I recommend that when you're first starting out, like before you really, I mean, do a little bit of due diligence. Just look to see if there's any other sellers on Amazon, if anyone owns a domain name, just some light things like that. And Matt gave some training on that as well. But once your product starts selling, I do recommend that you trademark it. I did that and it's already came in very handy. It gives you a lot more power as well. If suddenly you start seeing some other listings on Amazon, people trying to sell your listing, because it's trademarked and it gives you a little bit more authority when dealing with people like that. I like it and I think it's something you do, but it's one of those things again, if your business isn't even selling well yet, you're not established, don't worry about it. Focus on the other things. But then when you are ready, it is a step that I do recommend. And it's very easy to do. You can just use like LegalZoom and get it trademarked.
Yep. So here's a question. Can I make changes to my product after I've been selling it? I've seen feedback that customers would like larger containers. Yes, you can, with sort of a caveat. So, for example, Amazon, what they don't like you doing is if you create a product and all of a sudden you want to change something dramatically about it and you still have inventory with FBA, then you send this new version of your product. Amazon's like, what the heck is this? These are two different products, but they're under the same UPC, under the same Amazon listing, ASIN number, all that sort of good stuff, and you haven't created a variation or anything. That's something that they find kind of weird. But if you make some changes and your FBA inventory is completely exhausted, meaning it's completely out, and your Amazon product detail page matches whatever product Amazon currently has. So if your old one runs out, you don't want to change your Amazon product listing. If you have any information about the change, what's actually being changed on your Amazon product listing, you don't want to change that before your new one is actually in stock. Otherwise, there's a disconnect between your product description and your actual product, which will aggravate customers, aggravate Amazon, all that sort of stuff. But if you completely run out of your product on Amazon, you make a few minor changes on your Amazon product description to account for the new information with related for the product, and then you have the product actually sent to Amazon, then it should be all good. This is kind of a gray area because Amazon, it's nothing that's like against their policies as far as I know, but it's just something that they don't really like. But it can be done. What they really don't want is they don't want to have two different products under the same listing, both in their inventory, because then it can aggravate customers because they're not getting what they think they're getting and all that sort of stuff. Past that, it's a good thing to do because I mean products do make updates. I mean we all know just about all kinds of products out there that they don't necessarily change like it's not like a iPhone 4 versus iPhone 5. But if there's, for example, like if Apple discovers that their iPhone 5 has like a minor flaw, like it's just such a minor wording error on the back that they need to change, there's just a minor technical flaw, which probably won't happen with them, but it does happen with other people. Either way, and they make an update to the product so that all the ones shipped out in the future have that minor update. That's not necessarily a different product. It's not an iPhone 6. So it does happen all the time. You just kind of need to navigate that whole thing gracefully if possible. Um, so this is a question that Jason and I have kind of gone back and forth on because there's different reasons why you would do this, different reasons why you wouldn't do this. This person asks, can I get paid twice? Once as a product owner and then second as an affiliate if I set up a website with my affiliate links. Now, I will give you some information that I haven't even discussed with Jason about, but I was talking with the people. Remember, I said one of my brands is shipped from and sold by Amazon through like what you get access to instead of Seller Central is a thing called Vendor Central when you start using that. So I was talking with my rep over at Vendor Central, and he was saying, yeah, he's like, we want you using all the Amazon Associates links possible on your website, on Facebook, everywhere you can to link from and sell your own product. I don't know why he said that and didn't just tell me to link directly to the product, but that's something that they highly encourage. So it's not a problem. It's not against their policies or anything like that. I know some other, for example, platforms that have affiliate programs. They don't like you using an affiliate link to, buy your own stuff and all that kind of stuff. Amazon doesn't seem to really care. It's only 4 to 6%. It goes higher if you're some super Amazon affiliate. I've never done a whole lot over there, but it sounds like you can do that with no problem. Because the good thing about doing that is, we're going to talk more about this at a live event, sort of hint, hint, is that you can use these Amazon affiliate links to track different sources of traffic, whether they're paid, organic, or whatever, that you're driving from outside of Amazon to your Amazon product. You can use Amazon Associates affiliate links to actually find out how many sales were generated by those. Because as we know in Seller Central, you can't see where traffic came from. Now, there is kind of an important distinction to make here is because if you're doing any sort of SEO or any of that kind of stuff and you use an Amazon affiliate link, then that, kind of hurts you. It doesn't really provide that additional benefit like you're direct linking to your product. So Jason, maybe you want to chime in on that part.
Well, this actually is perfect because I'm part of the training that at the live event, and actually, if you've been following the email series that we've been doing, it's understanding the purpose of your traffic. And it's not like there's only one rule where no, you have to use this. For example, someone asked in one of the comments, can I have the keyword in the URL? Because you can, there's different ways to format the URL you use for Amazon. There's a time and a place for everything, and absolutely. I mean, that's really encouraging, actually, Matt. That's really cool to hear. Um, about using the affiliate link because you definitely don't want to hurt yourself. And something's telling me that that might actually be a signal to Amazon, meaning more affiliates using it, maybe that will help your product in some way. I don't know. It might not be whatsoever. But there's certainly a time and a place. Like if when you're trying to rank in Amazon, I mean rank in Google, to get extra traffic, you don't want to be using the affiliate links because those will not rank for you. Amazon, Google will essentially ignore those as links because they're not like good links. But and but from a perspective of other sources of traffic, like even in any type of paid traffic whatsoever, and even mixing in, like there's no reason why. For example, just off the top of my head, if you're submitting an article um, if the place allows an affiliate link, why not use one link that's a non-affiliate and one that's an affiliate if there's benefits to it? But the whole idea of understanding the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish with a specific URL or link. So there's not one hard, fast rule for everything. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. And I mean, obviously, in press releases, you cannot put I mean, they don't want you putting affiliate links, and they don't accept them, so you can't use them there. But I don't know if that helped added any information.
Yes, I mean, it just matters. Like, basically, if you're doing SEO related stuff, like you want a direct link to your product to build up that SEO value. But if you're doing any sort of paid advertising where you want to directly be able to track results or anywhere where you don't care about the SEO value, then yeah, using Associates link is good. You make an extra 4 to 6%, and you can actually track how that traffic source is doing for your Amazon product. Um, so yeah, a lot of it's related to additional training, that kind of thing. We already covered that. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it from those
I have a bunch
questions.
of questions that I've been copying and pasting here that
Cool.
I'll ask. Hang on here. After, oh no, we've already done that. Where did I start these? Oh, Matt, this one's for you. What do you mean that when Amazon sells your product, they still get the 15%? If they are the seller, then why would you be paying them 15%? Could you expand on just what that whole thing?
Yeah, I mean it's really just because they're Amazon, but it's also because they're Amazon and so massive that they have this retarded thing where they don't care about buying wholesale, but it still ends up working out in your favor. But they still take some percentages off of it uh, for being sold on Amazon. So the 15%, even though they're buying from you wholesale, they basically buy from you net 30. So they'll send you a purchase order, and then 30 days later you actually get paid for that. So it's whatever wholesale price you negotiated with them for each of your products times the number of units they bought minus that 15% and a few other things, but it still works out very well in your favor. way better than if you were just to wholesale to like a typical retailer. So yeah, so it's it's not normal. Like if you were selling wholesale to like some regular retailer, like they wouldn't take a percentage after they've already bought from you wholesale, but it's Amazon and that's the way they do things.
This next question I'll take. I don't quite understand how we are presenting ourselves when we do promotion. Say my brand is Spatula King. Am I writing all these blog posts and articles as an employee of Spatula King promoting my company, or am I under the guise of some guy affiliated with the company but has an interest in cooking and likes a silicone spatula sold by Spatula King? Yes, there's your answer. You can do either one of those. It depends on how you want to promote it. The whole idea here, though, is understand your audience and understand what it is they're looking for and what they would be interested in. Um, Honestly, those are two great examples. You could talk as an employee, you could build up, and you can do both. You could do one promotion, just here's an example using the Traffic Robot tool. You could create two different accounts using the Traffic Robot tool at all the sites, and one of them you can promote content to as the product brand and the product owner, and the other one you could just do general kitchen related stuff that just gets general updates and information that promotes your products. You can really do both. Easier to start by picking one and then going from there, but I mean, it's up to you what angle you want to take. My recommendation, especially coming from the point of view of your question, I would take the angle of the company owner initially and go from that way because it's easier for the press releases and everything to talk. Here's a good one, Matt. We can both answer this one, I guess. Is there a point in your product cycle after which it runs pretty much without having to continue to push traffic towards it? Yes and no. I mean, there's never a point where you don't need to do promotion anymore. And the simple reason is because if you do, eventually, for example, like just using just outside traffic from the search engines. Google will eventually stop listing your product if no new websites are linking to it, if no new social actions are happening. So, because they want the freshest, most relevant content to be in their listings. And if your product listing isn't getting links anymore, isn't getting any more activity like that, well, they'll eventually start lowering it in the rankings. With anything, you want to keep constant maintenance going. The nice thing is it can be a lot less. You don't have to do so much, and a lot more of it will happen naturally. Meaning, once your product is selling really well, you'll have affiliates that start promoting it, that'll start getting you more traffic to it. There's um, services out there that just take Amazon listings and publish them all over the web. They take popular products. You'll be involved in that. So there's things that will happen automatically, but never will there be a point you don't promote your product. I mean, think about advertisements you see on TV. If that was true, then why would Coca-Cola keep doing commercials? You need to constantly keep getting your brand, your products in the face of your audience, or they get distracted by somebody else. I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
No, I mean, you absolutely want to keep doing promotion and that kind of stuff, but I mean, saying that, I mean, we know people and we've done it ourselves with various products that after a certain while, like if you're by far the leader for that product, generally speaking on Amazon in terms of reviews, like if you just pulled way ahead and everything looks good and you're not getting hammered by bad reviews or anything like that, there seems to be a good chunk of sustainability, and people seem to have a bit of a hard time catching up. But that doesn't last forever. So it's better if you want to stay ahead, come up with some sort of system for continually promoting your product once you get there, and not just stopping once you get there. Because the whole rule is if you don't grow, you die in business. So if you're out there, sitting on your high horse after doing really well, it may last for a little while, but there's somebody else who's just as hungry as you weren't were. So you want to make sure that you stay up there. So always want to do some
Well, and the
promotion.
cool part, to that, if you have, once you're established, you can just get some, like just do one press release a month and have someone, managing all the other stuff, and just you can do a lot less, absolutely. But my fear is, don't just walk away from it and don't just assume like, oh, I'm number one now, I'll stay there. You definitely, and in my opinion, is there's always new traffic sources out there. So once you're at that point, always be looking for new places that you could, get more traffic from. So always be trying to expand. People asking about the live feed for the event. this was asked a couple times. I need to follow up on that. We do have a company that is providing that service, but we don't know the exact details yet of how the live feed, where the live feed will exactly be located. My assumption is it'll be in the members area, but everyone will know in advance how to get access to everything. So, before the live event starts. And I'm not talking about just a couple minutes before, like hopefully, you know, a day or two before at least, but regardless, it's just going to be more than likely in your members area that you'll get a link to it. Hang on a sec here. This was a good point. Just one thing to note: when you're using an affiliate link, and do not buy through your own affiliate link. That's a no-no. Use it for promoting your product, but don't buy through your own link, because Amazon, any affiliate system, does not like that. But one thing to note, the question was asked, what do you mean tracking links? When you're using Amazon Associate URLs, you can actually create unique, um, they call them sub IDs, but Amazon Associates does it really different than if you're familiar with any other affiliate program. You're actually changing your entire affiliate ID instead of just creating this unique little sub ID. And if I'm confusing you, I'm sorry, it's not really that important, I guess. But what you can do is you can create unique IDs in your Amazon account so that for example, like let's say you send out a press release, you even invest money and you do PR web and you do a whole bunch of other things and you spend a lot of money on this and you want to know exactly how much that promotion did, you could use your affiliate URL. Well, actually, press releases aren't a good idea because they don't allow them. But let's say you're doing a PPC campaign. You can create a unique affiliate URL in your Amazon Associates that's only designated to that promotion. So then you would know exactly how well it's doing. That's what we were talking about, the um, tracking links. Um, oh, I can't believe this question still comes up. Um, do you have any other questions?
Nope. So I'll look through these myself. Um, yeah, I mean, unless you see others, I don't see any other. I mean, see people popping some in now. Make sure it's not stuff we haven't already covered.
Um, we recommended that tool, hrefs.com, and actually I've also got a PM about this saying I'm not seeing any backlinks yet showing up on that. Well, that site doesn't guarantee that it's going to find your backlinks, and it could take a few weeks for it to find it, because the whole idea is it has to be constantly, spidering the internet to be able to find those URLs. So don't be, disheartened about that. I'm going to answer this question one more time, and we're going to hit on it. It's the 99th time, and please listen to the other calls, but no, you do not need to put your UPC code on your label. No, you do not. Um, I don't know how many other times we have to, many times as we've shared that, people are still, asking that question. No, you do not need to have your UPC code. You can use Amazon's labeling service. So,
Um, so next question says, if you have a promotion, 25% off, $25, does Amazon take 15% of the $25 or 15% of the discounted price, $18.75? They only take a percentage off the amount of money that you receive, so it'd be the $18.75. Now, I believe there is like if you promote a product and for example you allow somebody to buy it for something super low like $1, like the percentage ends up working out a little bit different. It's not a huge deal, but it's not exactly 15%. I don't really remember exactly how that works, but if it's just standard promotion, it's off the amount of money you actually receive. Can we use checkout by Amazon as a payment processor in Shopify? You can, yeah. I mean, it's a good option. I recommend having multiple payment processor options. I learned that lesson the hard way when I first started in e-commerce because I was actually selling products through my own e-commerce store. It was cranking along. It was the only business I owned. I was, a full-time entrepreneur, a fairly new full-time entrepreneur, especially with an online business. And then at one point, PayPal, they were my only payment processor. I was using them, where you can sign up where they actually just look like a regular credit card processor, but it's all done through PayPal. And then PayPal, I guess, somehow ended up on another site that wasn't even one I owned. They ended up on another site, thought I owned that site, and thought I was selling something illegally. Even that site wasn't selling anything illegally. It was just a stupid mistake on their end, and they shut down my payment processor while I worked everything out for a week. If you know what happens, I mean, now you're selling on Amazon, so it's not really an issue. But if you're running your own e-commerce store, your only payment processor runs out, you're out of business while that gets worked out. And they never fully restored it. This is why I'm not a huge fan of PayPal. I always have it enabled as an additional checkout method, but I don't rely on it as my only checkout method. Same thing with Amazon Checkout. I haven't used them a whole lot, but it's a good option to have. There's a lot of cool reasons for using it, but I recommend having multiple payment options. So having like a standard payment processor, using PayPal, Amazon Checkout, all that sort of good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, it's definitely something to use, but make sure you have multiple options.
This is a good question. Is the goal to sell our products between 9 and 40 like the ones we've searched for, or can we go higher than 40?
Oh, you asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could definitely go higher than 40. I mean, that's just kind of a good sweet spot. But now you have experience. Now I mean, because we say all that stuff when you know nothing. Like some people started off obviously knowing a lot about Amazon, but a lot of you knew absolutely nothing about selling on Amazon 8 weeks ago. But here we are 8 weeks later. You all know a lot of stuff about selling on Amazon based off of what you've seen, what you've experienced, everything you've learned. I mean, people that are on this call, the final call, I mean, you've probably been on a lot of the other calls, so you probably learned even more than most people. So now it's really up to you. I mean, do you think that you could find a good opportunity at above $40 and still be comfortable buying inventory, all that kind of stuff? If so, go for it. I mean, there's $9 to $40 are not the only products in the world that make money. One of the biggest companies in the world, I think they recently lost that kind of crown because of stock market fluctuations. But Apple, for example, obviously their products are a lot more expensive than that. They do just fine. So just getting started out, 9 to 40 is a good price range. But once you know what you're doing, feel free to do whatever price range you're comfortable with now that you know what that means. Uh, so this is a question that didn't know would come up. At the end of this call, can you briefly mention what you meant in the welcome module by the graduation begins May 15th? I honestly forgot that was even in there. I mean, that was set up 8 weeks ago. I haven't changed it since then. All that means is this is the end of the eighth week of Amazing Selling Machine, the 8 week web class. So I mean, this is I guess just kind of marks the end of the 8 week web class. That's all that means. There's nothing additional about it. So so I guess everyone is official now that you made it this far. You are officially a ASM alumni, which is cool. So that's all that really means, though. Hopefully, we see everybody at the live event and in the
Well, I don't want to downplay that. That's a pretty big deal.
yeah. So trying to
Uh,
see if there's
yeah, how do we pay affiliates if they like to promote our products? I'm assuming we're talking about an external affiliate program. You would obviously have to set that up. One of the easiest ways to do it is through, if you're doing your own custom affiliate program, is just to pay them through PayPal. Um, there's lots of different ways you can cut them checks, however you want to set it up yourself.
yep. Typically, a lot of it's done through PayPal. If it's very massive dollar amounts, then it's going to be through probably something else, but still could be PayPal. You have stock on Amazon.c. Do you have stock on Amazon.c or the Amazons in Europe? Do you recommend doing it? I recommend maxing out Amazon.com first and then exploring those, but it depends on your product category. But it will be separately managed stock. Um, keep going through this. Yes, you all will still have access through all the training modules. Like I said, uh, I guess, if Jason and I both died, the training modules would no longer exist, potentially. I don't know. But aside from anything morose like that happening, we plan to keep the membership live, active, and all that sort of good stuff. So, yeah, the videos aren't going anywhere.
And just to give you guys some encouragement too, as you know, like I have other tools and things that I do too, but because you guys are such an active community, like when I do things, like I have this, great press release training that I'm getting developed and everything, you guys are going to be getting access to that. So there's lots of benefits you're still going to be getting. And obviously, as new things are learned or trained, we'll be adding them. That doesn't mean that everything we do, will guaranteed be involved, but we have lots that you're going to still be getting. I mean, we have lots of plans with the tools, new tools, better tools, improving the tools. So we're not going anywhere.
Here's a question from Bert. Is there any problem with putting manufactured by my brand name and shipping address from my own address on the actual label? Probably not. The labeling requirements, they are requirements, they're legal requirements. So you want to research that, ask your actual manufacturer to see if that really matters. From the products that I sell, that is not a problem, but you just want to double check with them because it's all on a per product, per category basis. If you're selling in the US, it's going to be regulated. Uh, I don't even know who that's regulated, but maybe the FTC.
Well,
I don't
one
really know.
thing actually I know that's really important. For example, if your product is manufactured in China,
Oh
you
yeah.
cannot put manufactured by your company name. And if your company name is a U.S. company, you cannot make it seem as though your product is not manufactured in China. And somewhere on the product, somewhere, whether it be on the outside or the label or whatever, it has to state where it was manufactured from. Specifically, certain products do. But yeah, you cannot put, if it's a made in China company product as, made from my U.S. company. That can get you in trouble. What percentage of people are still here at the end of the course? We have about 85% to I think 87% about the people are still here.
Yeah, I didn't know if we were
So
gonna skip over that question or answer it, but since Jason did, that is extremely good, everybody. That is extremely good. Most people in this market with this type of course, obviously, we hope that our course is unique and all that sort of good stuff, but anything else that you would compare, if you were to compare, is would probably only have about 50% left, if not less. So we all did an extremely good job, and it's not just Jason and I. Obviously, hopefully we designed a good course, gave good training. We're obviously still here toward the end, just as promised. But a lot of it's you all too, because other people, if they just hear Jason and I up here pounding information all the time, that's nice, but it's like, I'm tired of hearing this stuff. But if they're in there interacting with other people in the forum and if people are getting helping out, I mean, that becomes a new social circle that has a far more value than what Jason and I could honestly ever deliver. So yeah, so a lot of it's thank you to you all too. So congratulations to you all still being
absolutely. And
here.
there's,
But yeah.
oh wow, yeah, and actually that's something else. We do have, my apologies. Hang on a sec here. I almost forgot. We ended up getting quite a few of recommendations for a community helper of the week for this week. So we got to do that too. And, and I'm not, there was tons of people that helped out, but I do want to say this was a special show thanks to Rick Dondo. I think it says Carmen and Rick. Um, there's a lot of people, Brad, I mean, just tons of people, and I don't want to pigeonhole anybody as, oh, this person's awesome. But when I get tons of PMs about one person in specifically, especially a lot lately. I do want to give an extra thanks right now to Rick Dondo, who I'm constantly getting awesome feedback from. Thank this person, thank this person. And it's people like that, have done above and beyond, provided tools. I mean, that's the power of this community. And honestly, like, I'll be honest, and me and Matt even talked about this back in the day. We were like, because communities are really dangerous things at times too, and if you guys, there's no way that me and Matt could have 100% been involved in the community all the time. I mean, there's so many things going on, and what ended up happening with our community is what we prayed for. Like we truly hoped for, that there would be this, it would become its own entity with people taking like leadership and really helping and stepping out, and we just need to thank all of you so much for that, because I mean, there's so many people in that community that I can't wait to meet now, because they have made, I mean, obviously Matt and my job a lot easier, but have added so much tremendous value and taught us so many things. I mean, a lot of people ask that, and remember at the beginning, why are you guys doing this? Why are you sharing this? the learnings and education we get from this is so incredible. I mean, we are way smarter now on Amazon than we were 8 weeks ago. And in a few months, I can't wait to see how much better we are at that time too. And it's because of the sharing. And I mean, it's just fantastic. I'm going to be sharing this soon too. Like I had someone PM me, and forgive me if you're on the call, I can't remember who it is, and it was about how she was able to get a brochure, uh, permission from Amazon to actually link to a brochure about her products on Amazon, and the brochure looks fantastic. And I'm like, this is incredible. What an awesome idea. And on the brochure, she has her Facebook, her website, like all this contact information. And instead of just giving them this like article, you're actually giving them something really eye-catching and worthwhile, and it's this tremendous value. And without the members sharing those kind of things, I would have never known you could do that. So I mean, it's just incredible. Thank you so much. Yeah, we will be sharing more. Thanks. So it was Kathy. Thank you very, very much, Kathy. And yeah, I mean, if I had more time, I would have already shared more information on that with everyone, but I will be, I promise. And no, I will not be sharing Kathy's exact brochure. I'm sure she wouldn't appreciate that, but she did give me permission. I asked her for information on how the process she went through, and I will be sharing that. So.
Des
Um,
Des says, for us who can't make the live event, will there be any more to come? That's the idea. To be completely honest with everybody, we've hired the world's greatest event organizer from my perspective, and she's done a lot of the other massive live events, and she's been doing it for years and years and years. So she knows what she's doing. It's Jason and my job, obviously, to get everyone there, but then past that, deliver value, coordinate with speakers, all that kind of stuff. So her real job is to make us look good. But this is the first this is going to be a massive event by anyone's standards. This is the first massive event Jason and I put on. So assuming everything goes well, goes awesome, you all are there. Kind of like Tony Robbins says, playing all out, having fun, learning, interacting, and all that sort of good stuff. Then yeah, there'll likely be more events to come because it's in the online world, it's the only really opportunity to meet everyone face to face. But not promising you right now. We don't have anything booked right now, but that's the general idea.
Tom's saying next event East Coast. I'm thinking up north in my little town of Sault Ste. Marie here.
Nobody is going to Sault Ste. Marie, Canada.
How many people are coming to the live event? We are at about the 700 mark. Now, here's the thing, which is really neat. Like when we told you about, 87% of the people still in the membership, 85, 87%. I can't remember what it is offhand, but we, far exceeded what everyone expected. And me and Matt promised, like, we are going to get involved. We're, do all these things. And even with the launch, people questioning certain things. And, with this event, people said, oh, you'll be lucky if you get 250 people coming. They were saying 250, 300 people register. Well, we've got 700 people. We've maxed out our facility. We can't, we've got a few spaces left, and we have to keep them for members that might show up. And they say, on average, 20% don't show up. So let's see if we can crush that number too and get 100% of you to show up. But right now, if we go by statistics, there's 700 people, and you would count on 20% not showing up. So you'd be looking, I don't know, so about 550 people actually attend, which is huge. So that's what it's looking like for the event right now.
What are all these people freaking loving Sault Ste. Marie at? I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a isolated American.
I love how some of them are spelling it too.
Yeah.
That's awesome, yeah.
Um, cool. So yeah, I mean, Jason, unless you have anything else, we can go ahead and close this puppy up.
Well, let me just do the community helper of
Oh
the
yeah,
week
good call.
little draw there, and let me get my random number generator. So my trusty, I've been using this site for years. It's so funny how this little resource, and it's always the one I use. So here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 names. So I'll put 1 to 9, enter. Oh, number 1. It's the first time that's happened, so cool. So Brian Klecker, you won. You've got the 30-minute one-on-one consultation with me. And, I never stressed this the last time, but it's been asked every time, and I kept thinking I should say it. you do not have to honor this right away. Like if you want it tomorrow, fine, we can arrange it. But I mean, if you want it a few weeks down the road, like at the end of June or something like that, that's fine. I mean, we can schedule this anytime you want. Once you're at the point that you feel that you'll get the most value out of it, just let me know and we can make it work. So congratulations to Brian Klecker. And again, thanks to all this, Brian, Jania, Drew, Olga, Andy, Holly and Cliff, Jeff, Peter, and Ian. Thanks a lot. It was great to see so many because I love seeing all the community helper recommendations. So thank you to all of them. And yeah, this has been awesome. And hopefully, for as many of you that are going to show up at the live event, I can't wait to see you there. And I know you're going to love the event. It's a very top-notch professional experience we're trying to put together for you. And the coordinator, like Matt said, she's the best in the world at it, and we truly believe that she's like really, really working hard on making sure this is a fantastic. And the other thing too is if you haven't looked, like I mean, the facilities are gorgeous. The rooms, everything is fantastic. So I think you're really, really going to be blown away and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, my wife keeps telling me that, oh yeah, I'm coming to the live event, and she just wants to pretty much hang out at the pool because I just recently redid the whole pool. So probably where both of our wives are going to be, but that's cool. Um,
No, we've designated Charlene for camera duty, remember?
yeah.
You graciously asked her for that. So, all right. So, on behalf of Matt, I'm going to say goodbye. Well, on behalf of myself, I'll let Matt close it off. So, thank you very much, and you will be hearing from us. But yeah, we are going to be. And again, PM us. If you need help and support and everything. But just know that our focus the next couple of weeks is going to be primarily on this live event. But we aren't going anywhere. So, take care, everyone.
Yep. Thank you everybody for joining us. Really sticking it out, making it to the last of the initial eight. We'll probably have some more in the future, but a last of the initial eight ASM live coaching calls. So kudos to you all. This has been an awesome experience. Like I said, it wouldn't have been the same without you all in there busting your butts in your own business and in helping and interacting with everybody else. So we will obviously be in touch. Hopefully, we get to see lots and lots of people at the live event. But if not, it's cool too. We will be in touch and talk to you all soon.